Hey everybody, it's a virtual Friday night. What that means is it's actually Thursday night, but I don't have to work tomorrow, and I hope you don't either. Saturday's the 4th of July, and that means grilling. So we are going to do a family recipe that's been in my family since I was only a child. And I'm gonna tell you the history of this. We're gonna make flank steak, and it's a marinated flank steak, and the backstory of this recipe, I asked my mom the other day, because the first time I had flank steak was when I lived in Wheaton, Illinois, and I was about maybe 11 or 12. So I asked my mom, I said, where did that recipe come from? And she said, whoa, when we moved to Rockford, now, that was 1966 when we moved to Rockford. That was a long time ago. I was merely 5 years old. She said, when we moved to Rockford, the gas company sent us a welcome package. So, we signed up for, gas or whatever, and we're a new customer, and they sent us a welcome package, and she said, in that welcome package, there were some coupons and some, places to go, and there were some recipes. And this recipe for marinated flank steak was in that welcome package. So this is a recipe that's been in our family for 55 years, 54 years. The first time I had it was probably in 1973 or 4. I don't remember having it, in the 60s. But it's a great recipe, and there are a zillion things that you can do to this recipe to change it and make it better and everything. But I'm going to do it basically the way it was written in 1966. And Renee's going to show you for just a second exactly what this recipe was made to be way back then. It's very simple, and I'm going to limit my mods, there's a lot of modifications you can make to it, but I'm going to limit the mods. Okay, so we start with a piece of flank steak. Flank steak is a sinewy kind of steak. This steak is 1.8 pounds, and it cost $16.36, which means it was $8.99 a pound. So it's not one of the more expensive steaks. And of course, look what it says on it. What's it say? Marinate. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to follow the instructions on the bag. I've always found that gave you good results. Follow the instructions on the bag. We're going to discard this.
You don't do that.
Try to follow the instructions on the bag. Ooh, now this is a thick flank steak. So what we've learned to do over time, and again, this is not in the original recipe, so I would say this is a mod, or as the young people say, this is a hack. So we're going to fork it, and what that's going to do is, in my humble opinion, this is going to help the marinade penetrate the meat better than it would otherwise. Okay. Okay. Now the marinade. Blender on a stick. This is the thing. And so we are going to add, and the order of these ingredients doesn't matter because they're going to get blenderized, okay? This happens to be soy sauce. I actually think a lot of the flavor in this recipe comes from the soy sauce. This is half a cup of soy sauce. So that's how much oil we're going to use. I'm using avocado oil, but really any oil is fine. Yeah, because it calls for 1 clove of garlic, and I'm like, I am never going to put 1 clove of garlic in anything except maybe my mouth. Now, it calls for great ginger, and for some reason it calls for powdered ginger. Why would it call for fresh garlic but powdered ginger? I don't know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick mod, and I'm going to put in this fresh squeezed ginger. It's an emulsion. And I'm going to put in about, I would say, 2 tablespoons. 2 tablespoons. Okay, it calls for 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. I wrapped this stuff up earlier. Again, we're outside, of course, because we love to be outside. And we don't want bugs in our food, It's enough protein. We're going to get right there with that meat. We don't need bugs. And then vinegar. Now, it just says vinegar in the recipe. I red wine vinegar, but you know, I don't think it matters what kind of vinegar you use. It just doesn't matter what kind of vinegar you use. Almost done. So we take our blender on a stick, submerge it, and it takes 2 buttons. Start on low. There's a lot of marinades that, you know, that don't require that kind of a you know, massive chopping. So this is it. I mean, we're done. We're almost done. All I gotta do is take this beautiful hunk of flank steak. Now, say one thing about flank steak. Can you see? You might not be able to see this once it's cooked. Do you see the grain of this? Okay. A lot of these steaks that are flap steaks or skirt steaks or flank steaks, the grain is critical. So when it comes off the grill, if I cut it in this direction, these sinews, I call them sinews, you could call, I don't know, these fibers would be long if I cut them this way, right? Those fibers would be long. And when you put that in your mouth and you chew it, you've got these long kind of stringy things in your mouth that are not as easy to chew. So you always make sure with a steak like this that you cut perpendicular to the grain. Are we clear on the grain? I only say that now because sometimes it's harder to see when, all right, so there we go. Boom, that's in there. And then this goes in. Oh, there's a piece of garlic. Didn't get chopped up. That's okay. So this is gonna marinate overnight, okay? So I'm excited for a lot of reasons, but chief among them is that tomorrow I get to introduce my grill. So tomorrow we're gonna cook that steak on this grill.
Looks beautiful.
Very high heat. Thank you. See you tomorrow.
24 hours later.
Happy 3rd of July. This is Dan. Rook's Recipes is the name of our channel, and we are going to cook a flank steak, so forth, and it's not here. Where is it? I don't know. I have to go get it. I thought it was out here, but it's not, so I have to go get it.
Sherlock, what are we going to do with him?
It's reality TV. Left it in the kitchen. Okay, so as we talked about yesterday, it's been overnight. I took it out. You always want to take a steak out of the refrigerator about an hour before you cook it, just so that you're not cooking a cold steak. Okay. So what we're gonna do, just so you know, this is believe it or not, this is a $20 thermometer, and it's digital. It's got a probe. I'm gonna put this probe into the steak so that we know what the temperature of the steak is going to be. We want to take it off at about I would say 137 degrees, or we might take it off at 134 and let the temperature increase, because it'll increase by 3 or 4 degrees after it's off the heat. So I'm going to put this on the grill, and then I'll stick the probe in there, and we'll get going. And I have my long tongs. Renee, I think Renee, you're doing a good thing by coming over here. I've got my all right, whoa, I love it. Oh yes, fire, fire. You remember the movie Castaway?
Fire, I have made fire, fire.
Boys like fire, don't they? Yes, they do. All right, so here we go. Get this guy out. It's been in there for 24 hours. Hang on tight, and boom. Woo! Woo! Gorgeous. All right, so I'm checking my watch. It has a stopwatch on it, so I'm going to time it. I'm going to do this for about, I'll say 3 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes.
You Tag Heuer snob.
I know. I mean, they said I should get Tag Heuer to sponsor my videos. Someday. Someday. So I'm going to time this for about, I'm going to say 3 minutes, and then I'm going to turn it over. Now, some people who are really artistic around their grilling, they will turn the steak on this. It's on the same side, but they'll turn it 90 degrees. All right, so we'll do that just for fun.
And what's the purpose of that?
It makes grill marks that are cross-hatched. She knows. She just wanted you to know.
I knew that.
Yeah. So why would you do that? So look at this. Okay. Oh. Oh. All right. So you just pick it up and you go like that. Boom. Boom. 4 minutes. Okay. Over the other side. Oh. Ah. Look at that. Oh, is that beautiful? I don't want that. I want it to be in the middle as much as possible. Okay. So I think that's kind of in the middle. So here's what this temperature thing says. It says the middle is at 104. All right. So what we want to, we really want to take it off at about 135. If you don't have a gas grill, you can do this on a charcoal grill. I have a Smoky Joe in the garage. I could cook this on the Smoky Joe with charcoal briquettes. You don't have to have a gas grill. You don't have to have a grate grill. You just have to have a hot fire. And you have to have some knowledge of how the temperature inside the steak is getting. So you could use a $45 grill and a $20 probe to cook this perfectly in a bag of, Kingsford briquettes. Okay, we're taking it off. It's my little thermometer is kind of giving me strange readings, but we think it's done. Look at that. Look at that. Ooh. Oh, look at that. These are the little, I don't know if you remember from last night, these little cuts I made. I'm so glad I made them. I'm going to do that every single time now. See those little striations? And
Scores.
Scores. And also, we can still see the grain. I hope you can see the grain. It's clearly this way. Can you see? It's easy to see there. You can see it there too.
Here we go about the grain again.
Oh, on and on I go. On and on. Sherlock, what do you think? Here he goes about the grain again, okay? So I have to, technically I have to let this rest for 5 minutes, and then we'll cut it. So this steak has been resting for 10 minutes or so, which you have to do that. We're gonna cut it perpendicular to the sinews, the grain, as they call it, the grain. I have a sharp knife. This little guy, I'm not sure about the signals it was giving me. So I pulled this steak off. Before that probe told me to. I know that's kind of instinct, but just based on how long it was on, I thought maybe it was time to take it off, and Renee said, get it off the grill. So
Renee likes her steak rare.
She likes her steak rare. All right, so here we go. Okay, here we go. We're going to cut this. This is the way the grain goes. This is the way we're going to cut it. All right? It is a marinated flank steak a la Betty, my mom. And this is, different steaks are served different ways. This one is served sliced, and you can make tacos out of it or quesadillas out of it. So as you can see, the first pieces were, I will say, done. I won't say well done, but they're mostly well done. As you get further into the thicker part of the steak, it's more like medium. That's like medium to medium well. And I think as we get further in here, we're going to see pinker and pinker steaks, because I put the probe into the deep. See, that's definitely medium. And with every cut, I get into more, what do you call it? More rarer and rarer pieces. All right, and so this is about as rare as it's going to get as I get into the thickest part of it. Okay, so that is flank steak, marinated for 24 hours. Northern Illinois gas, 1966. That's the recipe for this marinade. And I've been eating this since I was like 10. years old. And I think it's one of the most flavorful, wonderful steaks that I've ever had, and we keep coming back to it again and again. And I want to wish you a happy 4th of July. My wife and I just read the entire Declaration of Independence, and I commend it to you. All right, so here's where we're going to taste this, and since I've tasted it a million times, it's going to be awesome. Oh, say can you see?
Perhaps you could share a bite with the official
The
program
official program administrator?
observer.
Hey, Sherlock. Look at his face, Gaga. Do you want to try this? What do you think of this? Oh, what's that? Oh, you got it.
Thank you, sir. Can I have another?
Maybe. Happy 4th of July. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.